I spent $5,000 on a mastermind, and here's the top 3 lessons I learned. Today, I'm going to share with you some really incredible insights I've had in a recent event that I attended, which is Europe's #1 mastermind by Patrick Wynn. This wasn't just a networking event. It was an eye-opener filled with amazing experiences and lessons I want to share with you guys. And these lessons might shift your entire perspective like it did to mine. If you're new here, my name is Sarkis. I've been in the e-com game for a few years now. So if you're interested in anything related to e-commerce and building your own business, make sure to smash that subscribe button and join this community. Now, let's dive right in. The first most important lesson, how important networking is. Now listen, I know it sounds cliche. We've heard it time and time again. Your network is your net worth. But there's a reason why this is completely true, and I wanted to put this in here because there's a story, a personal story, that made me realize how true this is. I even met the founder of a big multi-million company in the dropshipping sector. Now, this company is in charge of shipping and fulfilling orders all the way from China, but they have warehouses all over the world. Now, the beauty of this mastermind is that you don't just go to conferences in the morning, talk about business, and that's it. In the night, it becomes more of a fun atmosphere. You go partying, you drink, you have dinners on the beach with saxophone players and so on. So you really have a really nice experience with these people, right? And that takes the connection to a whole other level. So, in the business, you connect in the business mindset. You talk about business, you talk about ideas, so on. And then at night, you start talking about life a bit more, personal stuff, values, overall aspects of things. And you're just trying to have a good time, nothing too serious, right? But this takes the relationship to a whole other level. Now, if you were to partner up with these people after the mastermind, guess what? You won't be just another number that they are providing a service to. With a foundation of friendship laid, you're not just doing business with anyone else. There's a natural inclination to offer more care, support, and attention to that person. So now you created a business partnership that is based on trust, and that allows to take things to a whole other level. So yeah, guys, your network is your net worth. Lesson number 2, the power of thinking bigger. There was a day in the mastermind where we were placed in a group of 10. The exercise was pretty simple. Each business owner just throws the main challenge they are facing with right now, and us as a group have to kind of brainstorm and bring solutions to that problem. In fact, that was the favorite moment for most of us. Quickly, I realized the kind of group I was being placed in. In this room, making 10K a month was basically pennies, because people next to me were talking about millions a year, and not a few kind of millions. We're talking about 30 million above kind of millions. The only fact of sitting in that room opened new levels of thinking for me. You see, I've been focused on a very small scale of growth, adding a few thousands, how am I gonna add a few grand each month? But I wasn't thinking big scale. These business owners were just operating on a whole different level. I quickly realized that although I wanted to have a business, I wasn't a business owner. I was a business operator. My business wasn't scalable because it required so much of my time and attention that even if I were to delegate, which I already do, it would require such a complex structure for it to work, and I didn't have the right amount of clients to say, okay, let me get into that complexity and try to make it work. So I never allowed myself to, go like full on and scale it to like 100 clients, because I realized it would be very, very hard to sustain it. And in that room, something clicked in me. I'm focused on such a small scale that I'm not seeing the bigger image. And in that same moment, I got a new business idea that I'm working on. It will be shown to you guys soon once it's done, but I'm very excited. And that idea is going to definitely allow me to scale and be able to fulfill, the service and the orders easily. As Alex Hormozy always says, you have to find that middle ground, something that you can charge a premium for, but something that you can still fulfill in the easiest manner, because if it's hard to fulfill, it can be quite complex. And that is something I realized that a lot of people next to me were not focused on that. Their service, of course, they put a lot of time into it. It was easier to scale, it was easier to fulfill, and so they stayed away from complexity. They just focused on that one thing that made them really, really good, and that's all they did. However, moral of the story, surrounding yourself with people that think way bigger can unlock things in your brain. Sitting in a room where, talking about 30 million up kind of years as something very normal, as like grabbing a cup of coffee, just shifted something in my brain. It was like, okay, if these people are doing it, I can do it. You guys can do it. It's just a matter of time, and it's a matter of focus. And yes, another cliche, we've heard it 1,000 times. You're the average of the 5 people you hang around with most, and there's a reason for that. And it makes so much sense. Now for the last lesson, the ultimate lesson. And this is something I will keep in me for the rest of my journey in business, and I'm very happy I heard this at a young age. Let's start the story with, there was this guy, let's call him David. I'm not going to share any real names, but the story is 100% true. So David, the first day he comes up on stage and starts sharing incredible insights about his business and his journey as an entrepreneur. He was at a very high level, making 100 million plus kind of evaluation over his company. So really good, successful entrepreneur. And he was up there sharing his insights, values, how he took his business from the ground up. And it was so impressive. Like, I was looking at him like, damn, this is really impressive. And I love that. It was so motivating. It was so inspiring. It was awesome. In that same night, we had something called a fuck up night. And that fuck up night is basically just entrepreneurs getting up on stage and sharing their biggest fuck up in business that almost, cost them their business or cost them their entire journey. And we had a really, really good time. We were actually laughing a lot. There was an open bar. We were having drinks. We were like a bit tipsy. People were coming up on stage and we're like, oh my God, like, how can you do this mistake? Nobody's perfect. That's when you realize that. And it was just such a good time. It was a really fun night. The last speaker was David. David, same guy, the 100 million guy in the morning, comes up on stage. But this time it was a bit different, a very different tone. He wasn't standing up. He was actually sitting on the stage. And it felt way more personal, as if he is, having a conversation with us as a room. In fact, it was a very personal story to him. Last year, his father got diagnosed with terminal cancer, which I can relate to because my mother as well was diagnosed with that last year. And so straight off the bat, I realized I'm gonna cry. I'm about to cry, in this room filled with entrepreneurs, I'm gonna bawl. Like, it was straight from that little sentence because it hit home, right? But as he shared his story, he detailed the pain that his dad was going through, the pain his family was going through, and what experiences he had to go through in those final days. The cold gray afternoon when the doctors confirmed that his dad won't be making it. In the final moments, he described the quiet room, and the only sound he would listen to were the machines attached to his dad. That night, with the entire family around, his dad's breath grew shallow, and when he took his last breath, a mix of sorrow washed over him. And he realized in that moment that all his life, he's 50, he has been focusing on the EBITDA, the getting his 33 million evaluation, just getting it up, and never gave enough time to his dad or his family or relationships. And now he's 50 without a wife, without kids, and now without a dad. The moral of his story was clear. While making business and money is important, we must not forget the importance of relationships. You can have all the money in the world, but if you lose the people you love, what is it truly for? That for me was one of the biggest lessons in the mastermind, and it was not expected. Of course, continue striving for more, be hungry, aim high, go for it. However, don't forget the bigger picture. Because if you succeeded, you reached the 100 million company, but you sacrificed everything for it, and now you're lonely and unhappy, Well, that's like the ultimate failure. There you go. This mastermind, as you guys can see, has been such an incredible investment in so many areas, whether on a personal one or a business one, even building such a nice level of friendship and community in the same industry was just incredibly amazing. So I would recommend this investment for every single person out there. I will do it certainly again and again. This is definitely going to be a one time a year kind of thing at a minimum, because I realize the importance of being in a room like that and sharing experiences on that kind of level, which I know will inspire me to go further and reach higher while not forgetting the bigger picture. If you like this kind of video, please leave me a comment below, because it's a new kind of content, and if I know you guys like it, I'll make more of that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you all next week.